Okay. Hi everyone. This is April 9th. Starting analysis with BTC as usual. We'll start with 1 hour and then go higher time frame as we did last time. Last time, a quick recap. Though there is video recording, I hope everybody has gone through. It has other details as well, like quarterly review as well, quarterly analysis. This time I won't do it, so it was covered last time, so it doesn't change. Now, so what we had was the orange channel. I removed the upper part though, somewhere here. I don't have the exact marker at this moment, but somewhere here. Um, yeah, essentially, no, I think I changed a lot. Maybe I had lower bound here. Yeah, lower bound somewhere here, and it was at angle. My bad. Should I let me quickly recreate? Like this. Yeah, I should change the color of this to avoid different color. Green. Yeah, okay, so I had something like this. It was from here. Yeah, okay, so this is what we had last time. So we were, I think, somewhere here. Today is yeah, April 9th. So uh, on second, somewhere here we were here, and we had this pattern. Okay, we had this pattern. So then I said there could be one there. This was a blue path, so one breakout from here on, if this is broken above. Other alternative approach was this, or path was this blue path, where it would go down and basically within remain in descending orange channel here. And it did. It touched the lower bound, upper bound, lower bound, upper bound. There were a couple of spikes, but very short bursts. These were very, like, for a very brief moment, but it did. So this pattern really worked out well, and even here there was a quick breakdown, but then bounce, but eventually it could not. So this pattern was complete successfully. So this kind of pattern, once we figure it out, it gives us visibility, or it gives us some key levels which we could track later on. So this worked out pretty well for a whole entire week as far as BTC is concerned. Then okay, so this is done. It broke below on 1 hour. Then we had this S6. Now we talk about the present or recent. So I added this green line, okay, touching this low, March 31st low, and then that gives us this green line. Then when breakdown happened yesterday, it stopped by S6, bounced, multiple bounces. If you look at very closely, multiple bounces, but all were rejected by the same green line, right? And then basically the consolidation happened between these two lines, and it broke below, right? Now it's here. It's kind of middle of nowhere at this moment, but this is like interim level. We cannot go more than lower than 1 hour. 1 hour is just to understand what happened inside. 1 hour is not going to give us any clue on direction, so we have to eventually zoom out. At this moment, 1 hour is telling us that this is just a consolidation. This consolidation might end up with another bounce and in that case it will try to break above s6. So in my point of view, let me remove this circle. If it breaks above s6, then it will be back in life, okay, from bull's point of view, because this was a support and it is broken, so it has to return back above somewhere around 43k. So 43k is required. So remember, when it was here, I was saying give me 46k, but it didn't when it was here. Now I'm saying give me 43k. I'm not saying 43k is good enough. We definitely need more. When it was here, I said give me 48k. It tried, but it didn't. Here I said give me 46k. It didn't. It broke below. I'm saying now give me 43k at least. So what do I mean is 43k is kind of a lifeline, okay, from bull's point of view. Bears are enjoying. There's no, so we always talk from a bull point of view because majority of the people are bulls, sidewise, direction wise. That's why we always talk from bullish point of view. But in trading, it's about opportunity and risk. It's all about direction you choose. So if it is going down, if you're on the downside, it's good for you, right? So there are some traders who trade bi-directionally, means they align themselves with the direction of the asset. In that case, they enjoy the movement on the both the sides, especially when they know the key level. What they would do is they would buy at support and sell at resistance. Approach A suggests something similar because it also talks about the same. And when it breaks above resistance, you add more. But at resistance, it could go down or it could go up. We know that. So here in this case, it is at resistance. Now, if you assume that it will go down, that's also entirely wrong. But you can take a chance. So that's why we could short here, but not necessarily everything in the game. Anyway, the different traders go with different approach. But the point is, when it is near resistance, there is always a chance of little dip. How deep, nobody knows, but there is always a chance of some correction. So now here, if you look at support, there is always a bounce. Like resistance, there is a potentially a deep dip. It's kind of right now. Look at that. There's a tiny red candle. Yeah. Okay. So at resistance, you can expect some kind of reaction on the downside, and at the support, you expect some kind of reaction, like in terms of bounce. Right? How high it will go, how deep it will go, it depends on the pattern we track, and then so it requires further update, and that's what I do on BTC daily. Okay, so we'll go higher level at 12 hours, right? So this we can remove now because this was done. What we see here is very interesting, that I have so many alerts. I'm testing out one approach. Anyway, so this whole entire thing is consolidation. This consolidation is happening in a ascending channel. So if I draw, this is what you get. This is an ascending channel, more or less parallel, especially the top part is pretty much aligned, right? And then we can have this parallel channel. Very simple pattern. Earlier it was more like a descending. Because of this higher high, the pattern has changed, and we had to align to the pattern, right? So low level stuff is this. Now we are zooming out. So we were focusing more on this in 1 hour. Now we are focusing on whole entire pattern. What we are seeing here is kind of a replica or fractal. So if you look at this pattern, see, it's not each and every turn is going to be similar, but you will figure out that it went up here, down, up, and then down. Okay, maybe I should use some bright color so it's more visible. And here as well, and this was highlighted in one of the calls, in fact in last call only. I might have a drawing. So if you look at this one, this is highlighted by circle. This is replica, right? It's not going to do shape wise. It's the path could be here little different, zigzag and maybe straight line, but if you look at it is some very similar, right? So as a TA, you could think of different patterns. Okay, you have to detect different patterns, and that patterns gives you the boundary and next step or direction. So if I detected this pattern, what it tells me, and this was detected long back when it bounced, I said either it will do, so when it was here I said it might do something like this, where it could go down like this in this way, okay, or it will follow this pattern. Now because of this bounce, this kind of pattern didn't occur, but now this is happening more or less the same. This is just a one bounce and then going down, so pattern is slightly changed. So instead of this, now it is doing something like this. So what it gives a what the visibility it gives is, now if you look at it, now this tiny bounce doesn't matter, right? It's still going down, and in that case, in that case, if this has reached to this level, in so we I'm expecting this from pattern point of view around 40k range, right? 40-41k range, because this is where it ends. It may go up all the way up to here as well, but maybe a big bounce and then go down. We'll see. I'm talking about a pattern which ends here, and not the one that ends here, right? So first of all, it is going to, I think it's likely to touch 40 to 41k, which I mentioned last night as well. So there is a high probability of it. Okay, in between there could be little bounce here and there, it doesn't matter. And then this is very important, this is super important, not very important, but the most important level to me. We can argue that on different time frame different level matters, right? So on 1 day scale, this is, I'm looking at 12 hours for a reason, because then this pattern is more visible. 1 day I'm not so sure if this pattern is not bad, actually not bad, still not bad. Anyway, so look at 1 day. For 1 day this is very important, S7, and this actually the level very important on quarterly also. So you can refer my last video. This is super important from quarterly pattern as well. So for multiple reasons, S7 is super important. As far as analysis is concerned, you can say all these are supports, right? The bottom line is also support, S8 is also support, yeah, of course support. But when I talk about S7's importance, it's about the balance, okay? And we are going to look at the balance at S with a Bitstamp. So it's about the balance of this particular consolidation. Right now it's not out of balance, let me tell you that. It is going down, I know that, but it's not out of balance. It can recover from this one, but S7 will actually if it breaks below S7, then really tough for bulls, very tough for bulls to recover from there, okay, probability wise, right? If something happens, if major pump, we'll see. But in that case also S7, so even if it goes below S7, the S7 becomes the entry point again. right? So earlier here 48k was the entry point. Let's assume that it breaks below S7, and I'm saying S7 is the most critical, but it's not about telling the future. What I'm saying, in the worst case scenario from bear point of view, and a you know rare scenario from bull point of view, if it bounces from somewhere here, then the entry point S7 becomes the entry point, like 48k was the point. Okay. Ah, too many alerts. So that's my take. Okay. And different supports are going to give bounce, but which support is the most important support? That's S7. So you have to remember. So if you want to plan around it, you have a choice. Okay, you may, because then later on, as I said, if it goes above S7, you can always use that for a re-entry, but it's up to you. It's up to you. So we are going to zoom out one day and see. This is there is very interesting pattern going on here. This structure is kind of a mirror image of this structure. So it went down and it went up. This is just from symmetry point of view. The huge this is a kind of a shoulder, this is a head, but if you put one way, I'm telling you, this can be a head, and this can be a shoulder, and this can be a shoulder. One way to look at it, if you start a pattern from here. Okay, I hope you are able to visualize it. If not, I'll draw a circle. Let me draw a circle. Okay, and then you put, this is like a left hand side. I won't go into left head and shoulder kind of a thing, but let me say this is left hand side, right hand side, and this is a centerpiece. And as I said, if S7 is broken below, then it will weigh more on the downside, and in that case the whole entire structure will be in trouble. The whole entire structure. Which structure? This structure, which includes the centerpiece and this. Okay, I know it's messy, it's not readable, but I think here it's not about particular level or wave, it's about overall structure that you see. In overall structure, I'm highlighting this left hand side, right hand side, and then the centerpiece. If you divide the centerpiece, you have left hand side, centerpiece. Let me show you that as well. Just, I mean, this is little bit of TA, how I'm seeing things or dissecting. Maybe I'll create different color. Okay, you see, very interesting. Okay, something like this. So this was left hand side, this was a centerpiece, this was a right hand side, and when it broke below, it created this leg. Now if you look at this whole entire structure in the right bubble, it is something similar to left hand side bubble, white bubble. Okay, the dimension is little different. Okay, here also the dimension was little different, but it's not about measuring inch by inch. It is about, it is not going to create a mirror image, exact mirror image. Okay, but you got the idea, I believe. So now, so earlier the structure was smaller. Let me draw this with different color, maybe contrast to this one. This was the structure where there was a left hand side bubble, right hand side bubble, and a centerpiece. Now what you're seeing, so I'll remove it, right? You got the idea and you got the video, so I'll remove this. You see what happened is, now you have left hand side bubble, right hand side bubble, and a centerpiece. This is fractal. This is very different type of fractal. But once I show it to you, you will say, okay, it makes sense. Otherwise it's not so visible. Okay, So this is, I can remove this thing. I'm highlighting few patterns. I hope you um, are with me, but if not, feel free to ask me question. I can clarify further. But I think this is visually so clear. So this is what I'm tracking from different point of view, because LTA has to dissect the same wave from different point of view at different time frame and try to find out, put together and see what is really happening in next couple of steps likely to happen, I mean. So this is, what I'm saying, all this is what this is what is going on in my brain at this moment when I analyze and look at this wave at different angles. And ultimately BTC matters, right? BTC matters, it's a driver, so it matters. So this is at up to 1 day time frame. For we are using weekly Bitstamp version for weekly, because we have some different drawings here, because here we are tracking this rectangular pattern. We are tracking this rectangular pattern. This was the center line. You see the center line is broken. It tried, because we talked about a band, right? It's not about a specific dollar number, it's about a band. That's why I added this white shaded line, shaded area. It's a band, also for the reason that 48K had to be covered in that, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So now it has broken below. However, we can say it hasn't broken the band. And again, just to align with that chart, 40K is critical. If 40K is broken below, then it will go down below this band and then weighing more on the downside. That means it will go off balance, even from rectangular pattern point of view, right? Now you may say that on orange it could land and then bounce. Why not? Yeah, but if that happens, we'll wait for it to break above 40K, right? As I mentioned earlier. So what levels are we going to track on weekly? Of course, the 40K and this orange line. So what, it's easy. I mentioned last week as well. You connect this June, then July low, connect that with January low, and that gives you orange. Super simple. Add you can add this on your chart, right? So this is what is going to guide us. Of course, there will be other lower levels, but these are just levels where we expect some reaction. For us, whether this is the most important phase, so maybe now it has to rework a lot, right? Because of this particular downside move, because all this hard work it has done here, it's kind of erasing, it's resetting. However, there's one pattern that I want to, so these are I shown to you a fractal on a daily time frame. I'm going to show you another fractal, um, similar, not same, but very similar, but you will appreciate that. And that also tell you that why 40K is so important. There are multiple reasons why everything is kind of coming down to 40K. Sorry to sorry for this pop-up. It's my research related alerts coming up. Let me show you another fractal, okay, which is very interesting, and it starts from here, okay. And the moment I draw, you're going to say, oh yeah. Sorry, I think I had to delete this, otherwise bother me. My bad. So what is the difference? The only difference is this is a bigger one, this is a smaller one. Hope you're with me. So basically you relate this downside move with this downside move. Okay, so let me draw a highlighter, compare this, compare this, compare this, compare this. Or you can add this one also, it's more or less similar. Compare this, compare this. I'm running out of colors. I'll remove this. But you got the, oops, you got the idea. So, oops, yeah. Okay, I hope you are with me now. You can clearly see what we saw here. We're seeing it here, right? So this particular move is very much similar to this move, right? From this cyan color to this purple one. This is where we are. So what does it mean? It does, so this is a little smaller pattern, so this might happen faster. So don't try to calculate in terms of time. Okay, just try to track from a price point of view. So here there are three candles. Don't say that this will take three candles. Okay, don't assume that. Here the shape is more important, not the time, right? But this is smaller, so this is likely to be faster from that point of view. Anyways, this is what is happening, right? And that's why so from this fractal point of view, this is important. So the game is not over on weekly. Why? Because here it bounced, right? So what if people are maybe getting frustrated, I can understand, but the game is not over. I'm not giving any hope. I don't believe in hope when it is trading. Okay, there's no place for hope. This is technical, right? So even if you hope, it doesn't change the market. That's why, I mean, you can hope for it. Don't misunderstand me. What I mean is, if you hope for something, hope doesn't change the market, right? So it's coming down, and I'm expecting this move. Can we get it? Is something we'll come to know. So right now it's going down. So if you are bear, you can enjoy this downtrend across the board. But when it comes near 40k, you have to be on super alert if you are a bear, right? If you're bull, the same thing. If it breaks below 40k, then I think you have to be really concerned. When I say concern, not in terms of panic, concern in sense that you could be on a wrong side then. Right now, on a weekly time frame, you're not at wrong side. Yeah, on daily time frame, lower time frame, you can say if you're long, then it's going down, so you're on opposite end, not wrong, but opposite end. But on weekly, you're not in opposite. Okay, on a monthly, you're not. On quarterly, you're not. However, it could change. It could change, and if it changes, and if you don't change, right, then you will face the the result, I mean consequences. So I'm highlighting few things and levels. Ultimately it's up to you. Now I hope this makes sense to you, right? This is a fractal, very very interesting pattern, so I'm going to keep this because this is nice and clean. Okay, so and we can track this next time. So this is anyway, I think so this is weekly. So I think Right. So if it bounces and again it has to break above what? I'll calculate, but around, I think in that case we might not need 40. If it bounces from here, in my point of view, 46K is good enough. We may not require 48K if it starts bouncing from here on. 46K, I'll be happy. 48K kind of confirmation. So what will happen is this will come down and this required level will become 40. So this, for in that case 53K is not required. 53K become 48K, 48K become 46K. I'll update later on once it is here and start bouncing. I don't want to change it at this moment, but I'm just giving you a heads up in that case, right? So I hope I'm trying to make this very simple, so you get that idea on different time frame. Now I'm going to hide all the drawings, show you the chart, because sometimes you have to hide drawings and look at this chart without anything on it. Okay, let's look at because we'll be focusing on candle here, on monthly. Okay, that's why we don't need any other drawing. So on monthly, what do I see here? That of course this is high, low, high, low, and this is high, and this candle is kind of similar to this candle. Okay, so that's why. Now what is the low of the prior month, which is 37K, and it closed, right, open here, right, 37. From monthly point of view, 37K is the most important level from a candle point of view, from a monthly close, monthly low, right? But we'll stick to our 40K thing. It's very important. um, and I think the line that we have, orange line, if it lands on orange line, right, so that's somewhere here, 36, 37. So that's second support. So from monthly, maybe 36, 37 range is the support, right? So these are the two supports, 40K and 36, 37K range. After that, uh, if it goes below, then it's a problem. That's for downside. We'll talk about that later, if it goes down. So we are expecting a big bounce from 40K. In that case, there's nothing much to say. We are talking about new all-time high, and it would be around 77K. I'm expecting somewhere in 70s to 80K. I'll give you more precise level later on, but at this moment I can say, then we are talking about 70K range. If 70K range is broken above, people talk about 100K, but my number is 110K. Okay, and that also I'll refine further and try to come up with more accurate number, but it's around 110K. It's not 100K. So 77K, there is one more at 90K, and then 110K. These are the three levels I see on the upside. Okay, provided it breaks above 48K, which remains the key level. Even if you look at last month's high, that also gives us 40K, 48K, right? So it makes sense from monthly time frame point of view that 40K is so important here. Okay, so this is clear to you. Monthly doesn't change much, but I think because of yesterday's move, what you see here is it has broken below the opening of the previous month. The opening was 43K, 43,221. This is broken, right? So that's not good. That's not good. Compared to this pattern, this was, it had gone, it closed, it went down as well. like it when it's going down. But by the month end, it closed above. What I'm expecting is, this is April 9th, month hasn't closed. Remember, this is crossing. This is not broken. Broken when you look at, remember, the when you if you are on monthly time frame, you have to wait for month to end. If you're on weekly, you have to wait for week to end. If you're on daily, you have to wait for day to end. Then only you can say broken. Right now you can say breaking, or you know there is another word, but which is, I'm told that I should not use that word because culturally that is not so good. Otherwise, technically, that is the word used in a TA. I mean, but I'm not going to use that because somebody reminded me in the in like culturally, it's not in present day. It's not so good. So I stop myself whenever that word comes because I didn't know that. Somebody reminded me. So I'm not using it. It starts with P. PEN. Anyways, so here also it went below the prior month opening. Here as well the same thing, right? But it stopped here. So if it stops at 40K, then well and good. But if it breaks below the low, then there is a trouble. So from monthly point of view, 36. I think if it breaks below this one, I don't want to scare anyone, but we have to be very serious because the consequences could be very severe. 28K for it could go really deep, up to 17K, and in worst case there can be lower level as well. I'm not kidding, but I don't want to go too far. But this 37K, 40K range is super important. I mean, I cannot say what you should do, but I would definitely say that don't ignore those supports, okay? Do something if it breaks below. Otherwise, the whole entire the work that I'm doing here will be of no use. I'll be really, really sad in that case if somebody doesn't do below those levels. So those 37K is something like sitting here, right? Anyway, so as I said, on monthly bulls do not have to worry, weekly do not have to worry. Only 40K and below they need to worry. Worry in a sense, not panic, but do something. Okay, so that concludes my BTC analysis. I hope you got your answers. We looked at different patterns, so many patterns, on 1 hour to all the way to 1 month. And quarterly, we can have a quick look at quarterly. See, quarterly is ruined at this moment. When I say ruined means you will get a sense of it. This is a rejection, a bad one. This is a defense. But you look at this one. This is not conclusive. It's just defended. It was going down and say, I don't want to go down, and I'm just raising my level, to certain level like this, and say, I'm not going down. That's it. It is not saying I want to go up. This is how I express. When I see this quarter, look at this. It's here, and if you look at the, yeah, so this month, this quarterly low, this is annoying. Sorry for that. Next time I'll make sure they are turned off. There's so many. Uh, this quarter, which was October, Q3 of 2021, this low is 41,961, right? If it breaks below that one, also gives a, bearish signal for sure. And you can make out that from look at these three candles, it's showing weakness, right? So it's definitely on edge, definitely on edge. If you look at this candle structure, look at this one. Anyways, so this was rock solid. This was okay, but here onwards, it's especially this is not good. That's why you might be thinking why I'm talking more on the downside and less on the upside. I did mention about upside as well, but point is, if I forward think that right now it's on more pressure on the downside because I'm going with the technical. I'm not allowed to say it's going down. I haven't used that word, but its pressure is more on the downside. I could say that. Okay, so that's BTC. What else we should talk about on BTC? BTC I covered. So tomorrow attend, like if you have O plus O legacy, I'm going to cover some TA stuff, right? Quarterly, every quarter I do. I don't record that session, so you have to 2 o'clock, 2 UTC tomorrow. Try to join if you could. I'll share some TA stuff as usual. Every time there's something new. I don't prepare, but if you are interested, I can cover the topic provided I know it. Nobody has suggested me anything, so assuming they're going by whatever I share. But if you want to learn something, do let me know. Okay, I'm ending this recording here and then open for question and then start altcoins.